Welcome to this quarterfinal game between Ulic Qel-Droma, who is the 8 seed, and Darth Revan, the 1 seed. Start with initiative. 20 and an 11. Darth Revan will let Qel-Droma. Darth Revan actually will go first himself, as a matter of fact. Darth Revan will move and use Force Corruption, do 20 damage. Qel-Droma will activate and will stay corrupted. Let's use 1 force point to reroll that. Let's get uncorrupted. Unsuccessful. We'll take the 20 and move up. And attack. An 11 plus 16, definitely a hit. Even with Duelist, of course. With Duelist, you must get I believe, a 10 or higher. Nope, 9 or higher. But it's going to roll for... Yes, not Dark Armor, will roll for block. A success, so no damage taken. Roll for initiative, a 19. A 12, Darth Revan will go first and take a force point. Darth Revan will use triple. To hit, Darth Revan must get a 7 or higher. 19, that is a hit. 10, that is also a hit. And then the last attack. Let's see, a 6, that is a miss, but I will re-roll and attack again. A 4, that is a miss. In this case, that is going to be a total of 40 damage. Time for Qel-Droma to activate. Missed with the Force Corruption. Qel-Droma is going to re-roll that. Got to get uncorrupted. Successfully uncorrupted. No damage. Now time to attack. A 2. That is a miss. 17. That is a hit. And that will do 20 damage to Revan. Initiative time. A 12. A 19. Again, Revan will choose to go first. Let's gain a force point and start rolling. A 2, that is a miss. Let's re-roll. A 12, hit. Attack number 2 is a 7. That will be a hit. Let's start blocking some of these. Unsuccessful. We'll still take those 2 hits. Attack number 3 from Revan. A 19, that's going to be total 60 damage. Time for Qel-Droma to counterattack. Let's use Rage. Get some damage going in here, potentially. A 9 plus 16, that will be a hit. And then the next attack, a 9 again, that is still a hit, so that'd be a total of 40 damage. Initiative, a 12, and then 11. Again, Revan will go first with Tactician as usual and continue the attack. Only 1 more attack needed to take him out. A 13, that is it. That's game number 1. Let's set up for game number 2. Game number 2 between Revan and Qel-Droma. 16 and a 9. Revan is going to do the same thing as before. Move. Let's use Corruption and start getting the damage going on Qel-Droma. Qel-Droma will activate and roll for Corruption. Uncorrupted this time. Well done. And let's move over and attack Revan. 12, that is a hit. Revan will take the damage. Time for initiative. Qel-Droma with a 5. Darth Revan with a 19. Revan will elect to go first again. Use the Force Point and Renewal to pay for Force Corruption, 20 damage. Qel-Droma will activate and will successfully avoid the Corruption. I think using Corruption is over for now for Revan. First attack is a 7, that is a hit. Second attack on Revan is an 11, a hit. 60 damage on Revan. Time for initiative, an 11. A 14, Revan's just gonna go for it. Triple attack to gain a force point and must get 7 or higher to hit. Attack number 1 is a 14, a hit. Attack number 2 is a 2, that is a miss. Let's re-roll this thing. That's a hit. Let's block one of these from Qel-Droma. Qel-Droma successfully blocks attack number 2. Let's do attack number 3. Success! That will be a total of 40 damage. Qel-Droma's turn now. Activate. Let's use Sith Rage. Let's get a 9 or higher to hit. Miss. Try again, a 14. That will be successful. If Qel-Droma wants to win, he must win an initiative somehow. A 4. Revan is going to just go for it and do more damage. All right, Revan, attack. Must get 7 or higher. First attack is a miss. Let's re-roll. Gotta get that damage in there. A 7, that's the hit. Droma will try to block. Successfully blocked attack number 1. Attack number 2 is coming in as a miss. Attack number 2 comes in as a 19. That is a hit. Qel-Droma will now counterattack. Out of force points, almost. Let's see here. Qel-Droma will choose to use Sith Rage. See if we can do maximum damage. A 9. That is enough to hit. That's 30 damage. And one more hit, he may win. 15. I believe that makes him victorious in this case. Absolutely does. Revan goes down and Qel-Droma takes game number 2. I'm reset for game number 2. Game number 3. It seems that second force corruption was a bad idea. Bad play by Revan. Let's see if Qel-Droma can get the upset. A 12 and a 10. Darth Revan will do what he did before. Move here and use force corruption to get the damage started. Qel-Droma will activate. Unsuccessful, but let's re-roll once to get that damage corruption off. Corruption is off. And let's move and attack. 15, that's a hit. Revan will elect to try to block it. Will also successfully block it. Initiative, Revan, a 12, and a 12. Technically, I think they have to re-roll. 16, and a 1. Okay, now we're talking. Qel-Droma is going to go first. Use Sith Rage and do some damage. A critical 20. That's incredible. That's 50 damage. Let's attack again. A 2. That is a miss. But that 50 damage was massive. Now Revan will gain a force point and start doing his own damage to himself. A 7. That is a hit. 14. That is a hit. Let's block one of these. A 5, that is a miss, did not block successfully. And then a 4, that is a miss, so it'll be 40 damage. Time for initiative. A 10, a 10, both need a re-roll, same roll. A 13, Revan will go first again. Gain another force point. Unleash triple attack. A 19, that is a hit. Let's see if we can block this. Success. Attack number 2 is a miss. Let's re-roll. Revan will re-roll attack number 2 and get a 7. That's what he needed. Attack, hit. Attack number 3 is also a hit, so 40 damage total. On Qel-Droma, Qel-Droma will activate and counterattack. A 3, that's a miss. A 20, that is very impressive. Revan will block it. Successfully. Bummer. Missed opportunity by Qel-Droma. Activate. A 1 by Droma. And an 11 by Revan. Alright, Revan's going to end this thing probably right now. Gain a force point. Very, very impressive. But I think Qel-Droma is done. 13. It's a hit number 1. Hit number 2. Last one will defeat him. Hit number 3. Qel-Droma is done. And Revan will win this 2-1. Looks like Revan's had a couple scares in this tournament so far, but has the tools to keep winning. Welcome to game number 1 in this quarterfinal between Darth Sion, the 5 seed, and Darth Krayt, the 4 seed. Let's jump into game number 1 and get the action started. A 20 by Sion and a 20 by Krayt. Well, what a waste of a 20. A 16 and a 3. Okay, Darth Sion, to really take advantage of what he's got, needs to just get up there and start attacking. Darth Sion was going to hang out right around the corner. Let's see here. Darth Krayt will gain a force point and proceed to attack Darth Krayt. Darth Sion, I mean. And we'll use just one attack. Yep. A 10, that is a hit. Darth Sion will use a force point to use riposte. 14, that will be a hit. That was actually for the attack, but I used the wrong dice. Now let's use the defense for crab armor. A miss, so it'll be 20 damage. Time for initiative. A 14 by Sion and a 14 by Krayt. A 13 by Sion and a 5 by Krayt. Sion will definitely go first and start attacking. Needs a 10 or higher to hit. A miss. A miss again. I'm not going to do any rerolls. I got to keep that eternal hatred fuel alive. Darth Krayt will now use triple and gain a force point. Needs a 7 or higher to hit. 18 is a hit. Attack number 2 is a 3. Let's re-roll. A 7, that's a hit. And then attack number 3, 17 to hit. That's 60 damage. All right, set up for initiative. A 10 and a 14. Darth Krayt will definitely choose to go first and use triple attack to gain a force point. A hit. A 5 is a miss. Let's re-roll. Not re-roll, but let's just keep attacking. A 19, that's a critical hit. Sion is done. However, Sion will use a force for eternal hatred. That will work and be successful. Darth Sion is back to life with full HP. And it's now Darth Sion's turn. A 13, that is a hit. And a 15, that is a hit. I need to do crab armor, 6 for both of them. So the first one missed, but I'll re-roll. Miss, and then the second one I'll do crab armor, was successful, so 30 damage. Initiative, that is a 4. And a 13. Let's see here, let's attack first with Krayt. Krayt's gonna gain force points and start attacking away. A critical hit, 20. Oh boy, okay. An 8, that's also a hit. And then attack again, that's 80 damage total. Darth Sion is going to counterattack. An 8, that's a miss. He needs a 10 or higher, also a miss. I need to keep the force points. I'd love to re-roll, but can't do it. Initiative. A 15 for Sion. A 16 for Krayt. Krayt is going to unleash more fury. In fact, Krayt is actually just going to use force points and just do the automatic damage to do force lightning and kill him right away. Sion is going to have to use eternal hatred to stay alive a little longer. 11, that is successful. So Darth Sion is back to life with full HP and ready to attack again. Double attack, a hit this time. Crab armor, success. And attack number 2, a 20, very impressive. Crab armor on that one is also successful. So that would be a total of 40 damage. Time for initiative. A 2 and a 9. So Krayt will go first. Gain a force point and use the triple attack. 17, that's a hit. Attack number 2 is a 10, also a hit. And then the no attack, that's 60 damage total. Darth Sion will now attempt to attack back. Attack number 1 is a 9, is a miss. And then a 4 miss, no damage by Sion. Initiative, a 7 for Sion. A 19 by Krayt. Krayt will absolutely go first, and we'll start the attacks. Let's get a force point. A 20 critical hit. That's basically going to do it at this point. Attack number 2 is a hit. Darth Sion is out. Krayt wins game number 1. Game number 2. In all fairness, so far, Sion's performed better than I expected, although it's more just a slow burn than anything. A 20 and a 2. Darth Sion is definitely going to try to move up there quick and get into action. But not all the way. Don't want to get that triple attack on me. Let's see. Krayt is going to simply just move in and attack. Let's gain a force point though. A 13 is a hit. A 4. And a 3. Sion gets to go first in this case. Let's use Sith Rage and do some extra damage potentially. Remember, you need a 10 or higher to hit. A miss. Also a miss. That's why Darth Sion struggles. He's got such bad attack. Let's do triple attack now by Krayt. A 5. That is a miss. Let's re-roll. A 10. That's better this time. Attack number 2 is a 7. It's a hit. And then attack number 3 is a 1. So it'll just be 40 damage. Initiative. A 17 by Sion. A 1 by Krayt. Sion will continue to attack. Just do normal double this time. Gets attack in that one. Gets a hit. However, the crab armor reduces it. Hit again. Crab armor will reduce it again. So 20 total. Krayt, use triple. And gain a force point, of course. Attack again. A critical hit. This is actually going to defeat him immediately. And he still has one more attack left. So let's use Eternal Hatred to try to stay alive. And rolls a 7. So he is back to life. However, there's one more attack to be done by Darth Krayt. A 15. So 20 damage total. Sion rolls a 14. A 14. Sion gets a 5. And Krayt has a 1. Sion will definitely elect to go first in this case. Gotta fix this shifting. And we'll start the attacks. Attack number 1 is a hit. Crab armor, success. Attack number 2 is I'll miss in this case. That'll just be 10 damage total. Okay, Krayt, what are you going to do? Krayt will gain a force point and start attacking with triple. Miss. Let's re-roll. Attack number 1 re-rolled is a hit. Attack number 2 is a hit. Attack number 3 is a miss, so 40 damage. Let's roll for initiative. 16. 19. Krayt will absolutely go first. Let's gain that obligatory force point and start doing damage. A 19 critical hit for deadly attack. And one more attack is going to be needed to knock him out again. Another critical hit. So Darth Sion is down. However, let's use Eternal Hatred to see if they can stay alive. Success. Eternal Hatred has worked every single time so far. That's definitely nice that it did a 6 or higher. However, Darth Krayt does have one extra attack. A 5. That is a miss, but let's re-roll. A 15. 20 damage on Darth Sion. And let's go to the next initiative. Sion with a 19 and a 4. Sion will try to go first. Sion's not doing any damage today. A 13 is a hit. Crab armor successful. Miss. That'll be another 10 damage, so just a trickle of damage this time. And then Krayt's gonna go all out, get force point, and start with triple. A 2, it's a miss. Let's re-roll that first attack. Attack number 2 is a 10. That was attack number 1 is a re-roll. Attack number 2 hits with a critical, so they're at 60 damage now. And then attack number 3 is a 13. That's now 80 damage. Darth Sion is basically toast at this point. Darth Sion with a 19. And a 2. Darth Sion will go first and see what he can do before he's done. A 8, that's a miss. And a 5's a miss. All right, Krayt. Krayt will just end this right now with some fun. Let's do some lightning. 30 damage. That will knock out Darth Sion. And Krayt will win this quite decisively. 2 games to 0. Welcome to this quarterfinal matchup between Darth Bane and Naga Sadow. Let's see if Naga Sadow has some tricks up his sleeve to defeat Bane. Initiative, a 9 and a 5. I'm going to have him stay right where he is. Actually, no. This is going to be tough because he needs force points for illusion to stay alive. I'm going to stay right here and touch activate and gain a force point. Bane, on the other hand, is going to move in and go use his force point to do saber throw. A 9 plus plus a 20. That's a hit. Let's use illusion to stay alive. A miss. That's 40 damage. Initiative, a 7 and a 9. Bane will use 1 force point and will move to use assault and Sith Rage, of course. First attack. Yeah, basically everything's going to attack at this point, unless it's a 1. 6, that is a hit. Let's use illusion. Unsuccessful. 1 more attack. That is a hit. Let's use illusion again. Successful. So survived for now. Now Naga Sadow will go, gain a force point, and attack. A 7. That is a hit. It's just a 6 or higher. Let's roll for poison. Nope, we'll take the damage. And then attack number 2 is a 4. That is a miss. I'm not going to re-roll. I need force points for illusion. Initiative, a 9 by Sadow, a 14 by Bane. All right, Bane's just going to destroy this thing right now. Just attack normal. Don't need to do any other really powers at this point because he's gonna die. 17's a hit. Naga Sadow. Illusion's unsuccessful. Goes down. Fast game number 1. Let's do game number 2. Game number 2. Sadow's got a 19 and a 14. Naga Sadow is going to... I have no idea what to do with Naga Sadow in this case. I'm going to move right behind this pillar and just try to generate force points. In the meantime, Bane is going to move. Yeah, let's just stay there. Just retroactively keeping him there. Bane's going to move all the way up and gain a force point. Initiative, 8, 17. Bane is going to choose to use Sith Sorcery and also use Sith Rage. So Sith Sorcery first, a 20, so unaffected. Now can attack like normal. Attack number 1 is a hit. Let's use illusion to survive. Miss, that's the 50 damage. Attack number 2 is a hit. Let's use illusion again to survive. A miss. It's gonna be another 50 damage. Now, it's Naga Sadow's turn to counterattack. Let's gain a force point. 13, that's a hit. Save for poison. Unsuccessful. Attack again. A miss. And let's do the damage. Let's re-roll. Hit. And then save for poison. Successful. Initiative now. A 3 and a 3. Got lucky, Sadow did. 12 for Sadow on the reroll. and a 19. All right, Bane is going to, Bane's just going to attack just twice. Attack number 1's a hit. Illusion. Unsuccessful. And he's done. Super fast game. Bane is wrecking everybody's path. Here's game number 1 in the quarterfinal for 7 seed Darth Plagueis and 2 seed Exar. This is incorrect. Not starting with that many force points. Initiative, a 17 and a 16. Darth Plagueis is going to hang out and just gain force points. Let's charge up. Exar realizes what's going on and needs to move in there and start killing. Move all the way up and gain a force point. Time for initiative. Initiative by Plagueis is a 15. Is a 4 by Exar. I'll use gain 2 force points, but I will use gain 2 and use 2. Do force corruption 40 on Exar. Exar now has 40 damage on him. Now Exar, and it's Exar turn. Then we'll activate. Let's see if we can get corruption off. That was unsuccessful. Let's re-roll. That was successful, uncorrupted, but I've already used that force point on my turn to do that. Let's use triple attack now. Attack number 1. Basically, everything's going to hit. Hit. Parry, success. Attack number 2, a hit. Parry, success. Attack number 3 is a hit. Parry is also. Let's see, continuing on to the next round. Let's roll for initiative. A 6 by Plagueis. A 13 by Exar. Exar is going to use Sith sorcery. Darth Plagueis will avoid Sith sorcery. And Exar will use triple attack. So every attack is going to hit, except for a 1. Okay, it's a hit. Parry successful. Hit attack number 2. Parry successful. This is crazy. Attack number 3. Parry is successful again. So 6 parries in a row. Let's see here. Darth Plagueis is going to use corruption again. Gain the 2 force points. Use corruption. And now Exar is already up to 80 damage. And that will be the end of that. Let's set up for the next round. 15 and an 11. Darth Plagueis will definitely choose to go first, gain the force points, and will do 1 regular attack. A 14, that's enough to hit. That will bring the damage total on Exar to 100. Exar will now take the turn, use triple attack, and try to get into this somehow. Let's use Sith Rage. Let's get some more damage going on here. Okay, attack number 1 is a hit. Parry was unsuccessful, but let's, oh, I forgot. Before all that happens, I need to roll for corruption. And before I use Sith Rage, I need to roll for corruption to know if I should be using that or not. So I should have 1. I should actually have an extra force point, by the way, for using force renewal, but let's do the corruption. Unsuccessful. Let's re-roll for the corruption to stop taking all that damage. Unsuccessful. Exar is in huge trouble right now. But now is Exar will actually attack now, counterattack. So first attack is a hit. Parry is successful. Okay. Second attack is a hit. Parry is successful again. Hit. There's no way parry will work 9 in a row. It did not. However, Darth Plagueis will reroll. Unsuccessful, so we'll take 20 damage from that. Let's go to initiative. A 9 for Plagueis. A 7. Plagueis will absolutely elect to go first and will attack right now. All needs a 10 or higher and he gets a little bit closer to winning. That is a miss. So that will be the end of Darth Plagueis' turn. Exar will gain a force point, but must become uncorrupted. Successful. Okay, let's use a force point to do Sith Rage and start doing some massive damage to Darth Plagueis. Attack number 1 is a hit. Parry is unsuccessful, so let's re-roll it. Still unsuccessful, so that's going to be 1. That's going to be 30 damage. Attack number 2 is a hit. Parry, not working anymore. And then the last attack is also a hit. Parry one more time. That one's successful, 60 damage. Roll for initiative. A 10 and a 3. This is just game over, basically. Darth Plagueis will use the force points to basically knock out Exar, and Darth Plagueis will take game number 1. Start game number 2. Plagueis with a 16. And a 16 by Kun. A 1 and a 2 this time. Exar is going to get in there fast. And get a force point. Darth Plagueis will now do his turn and do Corruption immediately to start getting that damage pouring in on Exar. Okay, let's do initiative now between these two. Plagueis with a 9 and Exar with a 7. So Plagueis will go first, get those 2 force points, and then do an attack. It's a hit. Exar will now go and try to become uncorrupted. Let's roll. Unsuccessful. This is very bad again. Let's use the force point to re-roll. A miss. Exar looks like to be screwed again if he can't get his crap together. Okay, 100 damage. Exar will use triple attack now. Hit. Parry. Successful. Exar also a hit. Parry is successful. And Exar attack again is another hit, but parry will get in the way. So that will be the end of that round. Let's do initiative. A 15. A 16. All right, Exar will activate. Try to become uncorrupted this time. Roll for corruption. Successful. And let's use Sith Rage to get some damage going here. Okay, attack number 1. Hit. Parry is unsuccessful, but let's re-roll that. Unsuccessful. Attack. Hit. Parry. Successful. Attack. A critical hit. Yeah, gotta parry this one. And he does, so only 30 damage. Now, Darth Plagueis will gain 2 force points. Probably should have wasted that force point. And use Force Corruption 3. Gotta get that damage rolling in no matter what. As a matter of fact, that's actually going to be a bad idea to do that. I will not use Force Corruption just yet because I'll affect myself, and that's not going to be a good idea. As a result, let's just gain the force points, which I've already done, and do 1 simple attack. That's going to be a hit. Initiative for Plagueis, an 18. For Exar is a 4, so Plagueis is absolutely going to gain the 2. Use 2 to do Force Corruption again. Exar that was his turn. Exar will respawn and try to become uncorrupted. Successful, and let's use Rage to try to end this game right now. Attack number 1 is a hit. Parry, missed, but let's re-roll. That's a miss. Attack number 2 is a hit. Parry, successful. And attack number 3 is a hit. And then parry will be successful again. So only 30 damage again this time. Very, very impressive by these two. Let's reset for initiative. 13. Wow, a 2. And this is interesting. Yeah, we're going to get 2 force points. And Plagueis will elect to go first. Plagueis just needs to get 1 hit to win this game. Yeah, let's go for it. Attack, need a 10 or higher. And it was successful. That is incredible. So Plagueis wins this 2-0 actually, and completely just mopped the floor for the most part with Exar. Very, very impressive. Well done, Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis will move on to play the winner of Bane and Naga Sadow.